welcome to the podcast this week. So, special episode. I am speaking to Tumi, who is actually my little sister. So, she is a content creator in the fitness, health, and nutrition space. I wanted to give this little intro because one, we didn't really do a proper intro in the video when we did the podcast, and two, because we did have some issues with the sound. There's a few bumpy noises. This is what happens when you try a different type of filming format. So hopefully it doesn't affect your experience too much, and I hope you enjoy the podcast. Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people in the pandemic have felt like they they've been given the opportunity to now dive into things that they wanted to do before, but now haven't had the opportunity to do because they were busy.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think we kind of obviously, pandemic is quite difficult for a lot of people, but for people that maybe did have loads of things going on in their life and had a bit more downtime, they were just able to see, learn more about themselves. So I think that was kind of like an upside of not having all of these distractions with everything,
Yeah.
The outside world. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. All the times flexing and flossing and just being busy out doing stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I find that especially when, working full time, which a lot of people do, it's kind of like, okay, get up, go to work, come back home, maybe go to the gym and entertain myself till I go to bed. And there's no really time to sit back and reflect on stuff. So that was 2020. Realising stuff.
And it's funny, because before 2020, I wouldn't have thought, well, maybe I would have wanted to do some content with you, but I didn't think I would be bringing you on my podcast.
Yeah.
However, because of the actions that you've taken to me,
now
we're here. We're here.
Yeah.
So, just to give a bit of context as well, if you didn't already realise, I obviously have a pretty face and it has basically been copy-pasted onto her face because we are brother and sister.
Yeah.
So this is an Edun special, which is why it's even more in HD and 4K and whatever quality you're watching it at home in. If you're listening, you might want to jump on YouTube and clock in.
Yeah.
And the reason it's quite strange is because at the beginning of 2020, it didn't even look like content was going to be something you were doing. And coming into the back end of 2020 and now we're in 2021, I would say looking at your content, you've studied the game well and you've actually inspired quite a lot of people. I know we had that conversation recently. We were talking about how you inspired your boyfriend and how you inspired our mum to even start making content on her own platform. But even me, I was obviously making content at some point. But even just watching the way you did yours and the editing and the amount of effort, because it takes a while. It takes a long time to create content. People on the outside think, influencers and everyone who makes content, it's an easy thing. It's like a second job, isn't it? So it's quite interesting that you dived into that. And something that I do have in my notes, because I don't want to make it sound like you weren't creative from the start. So one of the things is when I was younger, I had a lot of books that I would write little stories in or do little drawings in. And what would tend to happen is once I was finished with them and these were still kind of half blank, I'd leave them and put them to the side. But then after revisiting them for a few months later, I would see additions to them and even more things drawn over them from my sister herself. So I always found that quite funny. And it was always an insight that, okay, she wants to just create stuff as well and kind of experiment with things, which I think is something that you've just carried throughout your life anyway. It's what do you think about that actually yourself?
It's actually funny because my mum always used to tell me that when I was a kid, and I even remember it from my own memory, but I would used to draw a lot. And there was this one particular moment in my life where I was maybe 7 or 8, and I got this fascination with like dresses and stuff, and I wanted to be a fashion designer. And I just started drawing pictures of like dresses with all these different embellishments and all of that kind of stuff. So I do think that there was kind of a creative element to me when I was a kid as well. And I don't know if you remember, but I also used to act as well. So back when I was about like 9 and 10 years old, I went to this like drama school near where we live, and I made my own plays like with people. So me and a group of like people the same age as me made our own plays, and we like acted it out, and you guys came to see it. And then also I was in kind of like another play as well about Finding Nemo. So we did a kind of like remake of that. And I was really good at remembering my lines. I was really confident and able to speak, which is really ironic because I'm actually an introvert. So I do find it quite hard to kind of like talk to people unless they talk to me first, unless I'm in a certain kind of mood. But so that was really weird that I was able to kind of present myself confidently and act as well. So that was another part of my kind of creative side growing up. And there was another play I did when I was about in year 6 as well, which was weird because I used to sing in front of people too. So there's always been elements of
there was
it,
that time
like
you did was it the not Black Lives Matter, sorry. Britain's Got Talent.
There was that.
Audition, wasn't there?
Was that, yeah. And then there was another time in school. I don't know if you came to watch me, but there was actually a play that we had going on, and there was auditions for like singing roles for the main 3 characters. And I initially got rejected from that role, but I got another role instead. But then one of the girls was on holiday when the play was on, so they asked me to do the role instead. So I actually sang in front of people too. So
wow,
yeah.
Were you scared when you did that?
Of course, I was shook. But then I just kind of like, toned everyone out, and then just did it. So yeah, it was challenging at the start, but then I got used to it. Yeah. It's weird because it seems like rejection happens a lot for me, and then it kind of like comes back around, which is really weird. But yeah,
that's sick, man. I it's funny because I had completely forgotten that happened.
Yeah,
especially because I remember I would have to pick you up from the drama lessons that you were doing.
Yeah, because you had football at the time.
Yeah, so I would go to football.
Yeah,
and then you would go to the youth theatre, right? You'd go to the youth theatre and then I'd pick you up.
Yeah.
And we do those every Saturday.
Yeah,
every single Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
then for some reason, because I really did enjoy it, but then I started getting a bit like anxious, I guess, towards when I was like 10 years old. So I did that for like 2 years or a year and a half, around that kind of time frame. And then we went to Spain. Do you remember? In like 2008.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I had this sort of like discomfort with it. So I kind of expressed to my mum that I wanted to quit and not do it anymore. And then I kind of like, my acting career, if you will, just kind of, was behind me at, such a young age. But yeah.
You know what though? There's a lot of elements in what I imagine you learned from the acting school that has filtered into your content now, and maybe even at a more fundamental level, maybe something that you got from there is being given kind of the freedom to try things that are not part of your, I guess, personality, or let's put that up, that are not necessarily part of what you do in your personality currently, but you kind of embed it. Like, you've always been really good at trying new things. And one of the things I know that you've been very good at trying at is different diets. Because I have to say, I think any diet that exists on this planet, you have actually tried based on the products I'm seeing in the fridge, or like the things that my sister's cooking. Like, she'll cook her own You've been cooking your own separate meals since you were like 14, 15, based on whether it was veganism or pescatarian or whatever else, whatever other mad diet, carnivore diet, remember them eras. So tell me a bit about the one to experiment with food, because obviously that wasn't really something we were doing as a family,
right?
But I noticed it was something obviously you chose to do quite actively and a lot of research on. But there must have been a point where you got interested in it and started doing that, and I actually don't know, so I'd be curious to know. how that started itself.
Well, I'm sure a lot of girls will be able to relate to this, but I used to be quite self-conscious about how I looked because I always had maybe a bit more like muscle mass than like the average girl, so I thought I looked quite big. And people had made comments about it before, but I'd kind of not really taken into account. But I think subconsciously, the reason I wanted to try all of these different diets was because I wanted to change the way that I looked. But knowing what I know now, the way I went about it was completely wrong. And the philosophy that I have now when it comes to dieting and trying to cut, which is kind of something we say when it really just means to lose weight, is, you know, you need to have your fundamentals down. So calories, protein, and there's kind of like a pyramid of what goes on top. But obviously I was really young and I didn't know any of those things. So I would say the first ever thing I tried, and this was kind of like a complete random, like, there was no thought behind it at all. But the first ever diet I tried was vegetarianism. So I was about 15 when I tried it.
Yeah.
And we had this like weird like parents, not really parents evening, but we had this like personality testing event at my school. And my dad like came to pick me up and we went together and we did personality tests. And my friend Yelza was there as well.
Shout out Yelza.
Like, we kind of like bonded over that, me, her and my dad. I don't think she'll remember that, but this was years ago. This was over 7 years ago. And I just had the idea to go vegetarian and I challenged myself to do that for like, I think 12 weeks, was it 12 weeks? 8 to 12 weeks or something like that. Because it was the 1st of November and I broke it on the 25th of December, 2013. And yeah, it was, I didn't really know what I was doing. I would mainly eat like cheese and stuff because I still wanted like my animal products and I knew that, okay, vegetarians can eat dairy, so I was doing that. And I did kind of lose a bit of weight in that time, but I didn't understand why I was losing weight. I just thought meat is bad, that's why I'm losing weight. I didn't understand what I was actually doing. And it's funny because looking back now, my friend told me that I looked emaciated when I was...
Wait, what does that mean?
It means like I looked gaunt, so I looked quite slim. Like he said I looked really unhealthy when I was doing it. So I must have gotten down to a point where I just didn't look like I was actually healthy. But because I had such a fixation with the number on the scale, I thought, well, the number on the scale is going down, I feel fine. So I was just going along with it. I remember actually, because it was towards the last week that I was doing it, I missed meat so much. I remember this so vividly. But literally midnight on the 25th of December, I had the bacon ready to put in the microwave and put in my sandwich on the 25th of December 2013 because that was the day where I no longer had to be vegetarian. But that was the very first memory I have of trying like different diets and seeing how they were with me.
What was that? What was your assessment then of vegetarian lifestyle? Just quickly.
To be honest, it didn't really have like a lasting impact on me, like I guess consciously. But all I really knew was that, okay, I lost weight, so vegetarian must work to lose weight. But I didn't understand the actual like fundamentals of why it was causing me to lose weight. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. It was just kind of, I lost, 10 pounds or whatever. That's
interesting. Cool. I mean, to be fair, because you tried so many other diets afterwards, you hadn't said vegetarianism is sick per se, but you probably took some inspiration from there, especially because you went into vegan and other kind of
fasting, carnivore.
Oh my god, keto. I forgot about keto.
If it fits your macros.
You even got me to jump on keto. I remember when I came back from Edinburgh.
But do you know why I did that though? Because
why?
Now I feel like I have more of a, not saying I'm an expert, but I know a lot more about science and nutrition and fitness and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think the way that the doctors were phrasing it, they made it seem like it was this magic thing where like, and I even read books about it as well, and the science in those books was very convincing because there's these different kinds of studies that you can use to like prove that diets are good, and different arguments that you can use as well to prove philosophy of certain diets. So I thought, well, all these scientists are backing it, so they must be right. And also because they're doctors as well.
Yeah.
That were kind of advocating
for it. They had the nous to...
They had, basically I was having authority bias, so because they were doctors, I was like, well, they must be right, aren't they? So because they got the medical degree. Well, exactly. They toiled for 7, 8, 9 years to get this. They must be right. Yeah, but
Yeah. Nutrition is very specific from what I understand.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And it's funny though because I keep saying it's funny. I might need to stop doing that. It's not funny. It's interesting because obviously naturally you would think going from somebody like yourself who's interested in food and like diet as a science, you would think that naturally you then progress into fitness and health, and obviously now, you know, you make a lot of content around fitness, health and diet, and a lot of informational and entertaining content
I hope so.
around these topics and how to integrate that with your workout and you know, stuff that I personally think is high quality. You just need to give it time until the people really get onto it. Trust me, people. Trust me. But before you started doing the gym thing regularly, tell me what the inspiration was to go in there. Or maybe not tell me, but tell everyone. Because I feel like I know what the story is and how you even started getting interested in the gym. But I think this would be a good one to hear because it's not the orthodox route. Okay. So how was it that you got even interested in going to the gym regularly and then integrating that with the dietary stuff that you were doing on a personal level?
Okay. Oh, so I have a long history behind it, but I'm just kind of gonna, you know, skip ahead to like where the gym stuff really started. But then I'll go into a little bit of how it was kind of already there, but I just hadn't brought it out fully. So the first time actually I went to the gym and started going regularly was actually in 2016. Okay. So this was with a friend that we still kind of talk a little bit, but we're not like, you know, besties or anything, but she was like my gym buddy in 2016. So this was like A-levels for me. And we started going to the gym like pretty regularly every like few weeks or so, like every week, sorry. And again, the reason why I wanted to do that was because I wanted to lose weight because I was doing veganism at this time. And it's funny because I actually ended up gaining weight after this whole gym vegan thing, but that's a whole other story. But I was going to the gym for that reason, but she was really on it. She would be like, right, this is what we're doing every single day. We would do glute bridges. Do you know what glute bridges are? Everyone does them on Instagram these days.
Is it the thing where you lie down?
Yeah, and you like raise your hips up. Yeah. We used to get ridiculed for doing that in the gym. Like, seriously, people like...
Oh, what? Swear down?
Yeah!
What, from other girls?
No, from guys that were there. So there was this one guy we went to the gym with, and he would used to rip us for doing it. He was like, why are you doing that exercise for?
Because that exercise is
all
over
now.
social media.
Yes.
Everywhere.
We used to do it 4 years ago and we got laughed at. But
wow.
So we used to do glute bridges, tricep extensions like this. Yeah. We used to, the last kind of few weeks that we started going, we used to do you know the Smith machine squats?
The Smith machine
So yeah, it's basically like where the barbell is kind of like attached to the rack and it doesn't come off. So it's not like a free weight section. It's not like the squat rack where the bar is detached from the rack. No, but anyway, we would use it like basic Smith squat machines, and there's pretty much no resistance. But people would rush to spot us. Do you know what spotting is? Like, sorry, you're struggling there. Yeah, literally.
Yeah, I swear to God, everybody, not even just, probably more girls to be fair.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna get into
just
that.
About to go in, and then the guy comes over. Let me save you. By the way, like I've seen you in the gym, Raj. You know?
Yeah, honestly.
So what are you saying? Where are you from?
These were friends from school, so it wasn't necessarily like on an approach you thing. I was like, let me just help you. But
but anyway, right, yeah.
Yeah, but then A-levels started coming around, and then I started kind of like slacking off at the gym. But she was like on it, like that was her thing. But
so this is while we were. This is going to school.
Yeah, during A-levels.
This is Robert Clack time.
Okay. 2016. So she was the one that was into it. I just did whatever she told me to do. I didn't really give a crap about gym like that. Yeah. But yeah, that happened. And then 2017 comes around. This was my first year in uni. And again, I bought a gym membership, but I just didn't take it seriously. And again, I ended up gaining weight because the nutrition just wasn't patterned. And then I just would go 1 week, not go another, and then I just had no idea what I was doing. I would only ever like stick with the machines or cardio because I didn't want to go in the weight section. No. And 2017 just wasn't happening. So 2018 was the year that it finally just clicked in place for me.
And if I remember correctly, there were some very specific reasons to push you into going to the gym.
Oh, yeah. So...
That wouldn't be people's first thought of why you would start going to the gym.
Yeah.
Just talk on that a little bit, as much as you want to talk about it. Yeah.
So... I wasn't actually at this point intentionally trying to lose weight. It only like evolved into that. But basically, in 2018, by some random like, you know when you just get this sense that you need to do something, you don't even know why.
Yeah.
So I just woke up one morning. I think it was I don't remember the date because it was Rihanna's birthday, not our sister, but the actual famous Rihanna.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
The 20th of February 2018.
Yeah, families. Anyway.
The 20th of February 2018, I just had this like urge that I needed to go to the gym. So I just went.
Yeah.
And I came back and I felt so good. I weighed myself and everything. And it turned out that I was actually like a bit slimmer than I thought. So that gave me the initial motivation to start going. So I would start going like every 2 to 3 times a week. And I'll just be like really consistent with it. Again, I had no idea or plan of what I was doing. But the main reason why I actually kept on going was because I was in a second year house and it was just the most toxic environment like ever. Like we would not speak to each other at all. There was this one moment in time actually between like the 13th of February 2018. Sorry, I'm very, very specific when it comes to my dates. I've always been like that. The 13th of February 2018 and 13th of March 2018, there was one flatmate I did not see at all.
Wow.
And we lived in the same house. And it got so toxic where I would hear some of them talking and I knew they were talking about me. But I obviously didn't approach them. And honestly, I don't know how this happened because we were all best friends in first year. Like we were inseparable. And we were inseparable and our relationship just, broke down. And the gym for me in that time was kind of just an outlet to avoid the toxicity in my second year. And that's what really like kept me going back there. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's a madness because like when most people think about a gym, when most people think about a gym routine and think about the inspiration that goes to the gym, it's usually I want to lose weight, I want to get hench, I want to trim out, I want to be able to execute something. So maybe they've got a specific event that is going to require a lot of their physical, a lot of physical energy, like a marathon or some kind of thing which is going to test them physically.
Of course.
And those are usually the key indications. Yeah. But to move away into a place that is, move away from a place that is toxic and that is not welcoming, and the gym is like, okay, this is the thing that I'm gonna do to move away from that. It's quite interesting because it's something that I rarely hear as an inspiration. It's always just something which is
like physically or
mental in the sense that I want to test myself mentally, something which is quite common. That was very uncommon for me, but also interesting to learn that was an inspiration, especially because it wasn't something that since becoming a regular at the gym, you haven't really stopped like on an overall level.
I have stopped.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So basically, this is gonna be quite hard for me to tell because I rarely ever tell the story without crying. So if I cry, I'm sorry. But
good content, man. I just slapped that on Instagram and.
But
I wouldn't do that to you. That's deep. Sorry.
At the end of 2018, I had Dami knows a lot about this in detail, but I had a very traumatic experience. So I was in final year of uni, and you know how stressful final year is. Like you're trying to find a job, you're trying to graduate with a good degree, and there's just so many things going on, and there's a lot of pressure. And I have always been someone where I put a lot of pressure on myself with anything because I always have this need to just achieve. Like since I was young, I always, wanted to get the best grades, wanted to go into the best unis, everything like that. Put a lot of pressure on myself. And it came to a breaking point in 2018. And I started having panic attacks every day. I remember actually, towards the end of November, I would have panic attacks I would have 6 in a row. It was just really, really intense.
Yeah.
And there was this one specific day after my labs, and this day was really stressful for me. I came back home and I was in bed. I was on the phone with my mum actually, and at the end of the call, I couldn't say bye. I was like, bye. I could not breathe or even say anything, and I dropped to the floor and my heart started racing. My body just went hot and cold, and my mouth went really, really dry. I had to go to the toilet and toilet water. It was that bad. I had to go and drink some water. I felt like I was disconnected from the whole world. So, I don't know if I should name the term that it is, because it's just really uncomfortable for me to name it. But it's this condition you have where you basically feel disconnected from everyone. And for a very long time, I had no emotion. I could cry, but it didn't feel like it was me crying. And then there was this one time where I was coming back home for Christmas, and I took a picture of myself. I think I told my boyfriend this, but because no one's experienced this, it won't make sense to them. But I took a picture of myself, and every time I looked at that picture, I was like, I'm not that girl in the picture. It's really, really weird. So around this time, gym wasn't a thing for me. I couldn't go gym. And because I had panic attacks as well, when you go to the gym, your heart's obviously racing because you're trying to get the oxygen to your blood. My body could not tell the difference between my heart beating fast for exercise and me getting a panic attack. So I would go to the gym for a few months, once every month, because I just could not deal with that. So for me, it was really a hard time mentally, especially at the beginning of 2019. So I did go to the gym very intermittently. I was not consistent, but because of that mental kind of, I don't even know if you call it breakdown, but situation, I had to stop going to the gym. So without that happening, I would have obviously been consistent, but it was a completely random thing that happened to me.
I mean,
and I just
you're human though, so you're allowed to have those times out. And I think what I was really getting at when I said that you were quite consistent is the fact that even when you have those periods, because that's normal, obviously with your situation, I remember it was quite a difficult time because we were trying to make sure that you were coping and being in a different city, away from home and away from most of the people that is quite difficult. Away from what is known to you is hard. And then for us as well, just trying to help you with that situation.
Oh my god, I'm just thinking back now.
I think the main thing is that we got through that situation, and then gym was still going to the gym and working out and having that as part of your lifestyle after a dark period or the hard period like that was still a thing and still staple in the way that you navigated. So it shows how much of an impact just doing that initially had. Exactly. When you had the situation with the housemates, how good having that kind of structure was just for your life in general. And it showed by the fact that you kept up with it even after that period, because obviously it's easy to just drop it. I've had spurts where I'll go to the gym and then just drop it for a few years because I'm just and to me that says to me that it's not part of my lifestyle because I'm not actively making it something that I do regularly, even outside of the periods that are a bit difficult, just in everyday normal life. I'm not making it a part of it, so it's not ingrained in me, whereas for you it is. And that's something that you've continued, I guess, in the years even after university. And then it brings me on to you starting to share your journey on social media, specifically Instagram and YouTube, which you will be able to plug soon. Don't worry. It will be in the links in the description or somewhere anyway. So if you want to quickly jump onto that and then come back to here, be my guest, like Tumi is. So I wanted to ask what the inspiration to start that journey was, because I know we had some conversations even a few years ago where we were talking about making content and doing that and following that route. Yeah. And it was something that I think you were kind of like, no, I'm not really doing that. Like, oh, I don't want to put myself out there, etc., etc. So I'm curious to know what was the thing that really gave you the kick up the arse to actually start making content.
Okay.
Because it just kind of not came out of the blue, but with the conversation we had before, it's like, oh, rah, Timmy's making videos, man.
Yeah. So this was actually. Oh God! It says the maximum recording time has been reached.
Okay, it's fine. We can just continue audio. It's fine. Yeah.
So oh shit. Oh yes. So basically, the pandemic obviously hit, and I was just like, I want to start doing my content, blah, 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 blah. But I was still a bit reticent because I thought, you know what? I've had such a huge break from gym because of the whole 2019 thing. I was like, I feel like, do I really? And then obviously the pandemic, I was like, well, I don't really go gym. But I spoke with Rilin and Dielza actually on the phone. This was maybe a few days before my birthday. And I was like, guys, I really want to start making fitness content on Instagram and YouTube. Should I do it? And she was like, yeah, go for it, do it. Like, you never know what can happen. I was like, all right. But after that point, you know when someone told you something but you're still not convinced and you still feel like, nah, it's still not the time. So I was still mulling over it. And then I think it was the 6th of May. So this was a few days after my 22nd birthday. And I think 22 for me has been a year where I've just been like, let me do stuff I don't do. So I uploaded a picture actually of my transformation from end of 2017 to 2020. And it was like a before and after picture. And I did this whole caption about how I used to be so unhealthy. I would eat loads of sweets. I mean, I still do now, have a sweet tooth. But I'm a lot more controlled than I was back then. But I was going into my story and how, you know, I've developed and changed and how I found the gym and all of this kind of stuff. And I got so many likes and like so many comments. I've never ever received that many comments on Instagram before in my life. So I thought, oh, okay, this is something that, you know, can actually like work. And then I started uploading slowly bits of like fitness content and stuff. Again, I didn't really have like, I wasn't offering any value really. I was just seeing, okay, how can I make my page look more, you know, fitnessy so people know like, what's the point of my Instagram. And then I actually did the 5K, Couch to 5K challenge in April and May because I always wanted to run, but I always thought I was not that good at it. So I never actually gave it a go because I was more of like a sprinter. I wasn't the best sprinter, but that was kind of my thing in school.
Yeah.
Like fast running.
Yeah.
But I thought, okay, let me, you know, start jogging and see how that is. So whenever I went on my runs, I would upload stories on my Instagrams just saying, oh, okay, this is day 1, this is day 2, this is day 3, blah, blah, blah. And I would show what I ate before and what I learned from it, how my pace was, how I found the run and everything like that. So I just started getting more like stuff for Instagram like that. So I was basically, as if you guys watch Gary Vee, you know the phrase, document, don't create. Gary so that's basically like what I was doing. And then I started a mini cut around that time as well. So in this mini cut, I was just kind of showing what I ate, showing how I set up my macros, showing the meals, so everything that I was doing, eating, exercising, whatever. I didn't just do running. I did like home workouts as well. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of pretty much how I started with my Instagram.
Wow.
Yeah. Kind of by accident.
Wow. So that it was from doing that initial thing that gave you the impetus to say, I'm going to actually use this as an opportunity to keep sharing, because you didn't, I guess it's that point where you share something to the world and you're quite nervous about whether it's a piece of work or just something about yourself.
Exactly.
Not really sure how it would go, but you feel like it's the right thing to do. I guess you're following your intuition. Exactly. And then you see the response, which probably surprised you, right? In some way, if it pushed you enough to think, okay, I'm going to talk more about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I resonate with. I think as like content creators, sometimes that initial journey, or even sometimes where you just are feeling, okay, I'm going to post this piece of content, I'm not sure how it's going to be received. But yeah, it's just funny how it will just, like, if it's coming from an honest place within you, there's going to be at least one person or somebody that's going to resonate with in a way that, even though it makes logical sense if you think about it, like, yeah, of course, if you share something about yourself, which is which is relatable, other people are going to respond quite well to it. But I think with that imposter syndrome and with our own like self-doubt, it can make it difficult to do that. And it needs moments like that where you're unsure, you still do it, and then suddenly you're like, oh shit, people are really fucking with this. Mm-hmm. Those moments are always quite powerful. All right, welcome back. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties, so we clocked out for a little bit there. What's that? Oh, it's the car outside. Whoops. Anyway, sorry, we're getting back to Tumi's start of sharing her journey in health and fitness and I guess, would you say food, diet?
Yeah, nutrition.
Nutrition. That's the word. That's the word. Nutrition. On social media and with Instagram and YouTube. And I guess the summary was, sometimes you take that leap of faith to share content, and then the response is the thing that kickstarts the journey. So that's quite interesting, I guess, because for myself personally, I have an intention with creating content. I guess in some way I love having these conversations just to learn about different people's journeys. Even yourself, you talking about going to the gym at Robert Clack. You're my little sister, and I've obviously known you for all my life. Well, not all my life, but all your life. Mad. But I didn't know that was what you were doing, and that was kind of setting the foundation. And even before, when we had the conversation about inspiration to go to the gym, I knew about that roughly, but I didn't know the inner details. So it's always interesting having these convos. And I've gone into it intentionally, right? I'm always fascinated by the stories like yours, where it was a moment of inspiration based off a one-time share, a one-time that you thought, oh, let me share this story, with no intention of actually wanting to create content for a specific purpose. I always find that quite interesting. And another thing which has been quite stand out from your execution so far is the quality of the videos that you have. And I said it earlier about the fact that I realized that you'd studied quite a lot of YouTubers, because there's something about the quality of your videos where I know, like in my heart of hearts, I know that if a lot more people consumed it, like you would know just how good the videos are, because I watch them, I'm like, like I can see the thought put into them. And as someone who is making content, I know just by watching, even if it's a 7-minute video, I watch it and I'm like, my sister's putting in the work, man needs to step up. Like, I've watched your stuff and I feel like I need to step up. So I want to ask you, if you know this consciously, how have you made your videos so high quality? If you can maybe bullet point how you have 3 bullet points or some kind of little descriptions of how you made it that quality and stand out to me so much.
So I don't think anyone really knows this, but I actually wanted to start YouTube a year ago. Actually, 2 years ago now, because we're in 2021. Yeah. But so I actually made a few videos. In fact, I'm telling lies. I would record videos on my phone all the time. Yeah. Like throughout my, teenagehood, because I just like talking to cameras and I just like just sharing my story, even though I knew no one was going to watch it. So I did kind of have an experience with recording videos and being able to communicate on camera, which is still something I do need to like practice more on. But yeah, that's kind
doing
of
all right today.
today.
You're doing all right. You're doing all right these days. I would say. I know I'm biased. But I still think you're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. Anyway.
Yeah. And then I actually had a little bit of practice with iMovie in summer of 2019 because I wanted to do natural hair for some reason, but I knew that wasn't really like my passion, like not as much as fitness was. So I kind of edited a video in 2019 just to get a feel of iMovie and just intuitively learn it, because I've never really watched an iMovie tutorial before. I just kind of like I've just practiced it myself. I've never really sat down and been like, okay, how do I do this? How do I like? No, it's just kind of something I've learned myself. So I spent hours recording that editing and recording that video that no one was going to see, just for practice for myself. And then in 2020, August of 2020, I finally released my first video. But before that, I had done tons of research about how to edit videos, how to script them, how to make them more interesting, YouTube analytics. I've done a lot of research about that because I knew I couldn't just come onto the platform and just put videos. I wanted to actually make it good. So I found my niche, which was really easy for me to find. And then I found like video ideas and stuff that I could talk about. And then throughout the progression of like my videos, I've learned a lot more about how to do my lighting on my camera, so understanding white balance and how that makes colours look more
Shout
accurate.
out to the umbrellas that we've got here. Shout out to your boyfriend for popping them, because that's how you can see man in the... You can see both of us so clearly. You know the pretty faces I was talking about? Crystal clear with these lights.
These lights are sick.
Anyway,
so over time I've kind of just learnt how camera skills work. I've got better at my on-camera presence. I've just understood how to kind of shoot B-roll as well and kind of know how to tell a story better with what I'm saying. So if there's something relevant that I could get B-roll of, I'll make sure that I do that. So I think that my kind of, I wouldn't say it's my favourite video, but the first video that I did that I really, really enjoyed making was the video about my vegan story. So in that video, even though it was just me talking, there was kind of like a bit of B-roll and like images and graphics on text and stuff like that, which I really enjoyed making. So I think it's kind of like a gradual process of me just picking skills up along the way and realising like, okay, how can I make this video better? How can I make that one better? What can I do with this video? What can I do with that video? What other YouTubers have I watched and I've liked what they've done in their videos, and how can I put it in my videos? And just kind of slowly incorporate.
Which YouTubers are you watching that you specifically get that from, just out of interest?
Okay, so I watch Natasha Ocean a lot. She's like a fitness YouTuber and her videos are absolutely amazing. I love her videos. So I get inspiration from her. And then I get inspiration from a lot of like kind of social media experts as well. So people like Jay Dharmawanza, Vanessa Lau, Sunny Lenarduzzi, Roberto Blake, and Will Tennyson as well. He's another fitness YouTuber and his videos are amazing as well. So I get inspiration from like everyone I watch. If I watch someone and I like, oh, I like this, I'll just write it down and be like, okay, I'm going to add that in my next video. And just kind of doing stuff like that has really helped my videos kind of like get better and better as well. So yeah, learning is definitely one of those
student of the game. I have to say, even like one of the things that I remember from some of your videos, I guess I find it funny because I know what was happening off camera and behind the scenes. But you know the Gymshark haul video at the beginning where the bag gets thrown at you? I just think that's like one of the best starts to a YouTube video because it threw me off. I wasn't ready for it, but it was so funny. It was so funny, and I've showed it to a few people as well, and they're like, "Rah, what happens next?" It's so good. Like even just little, because as little as those things are, it's only a 2-3 second part of the video. It's so integral, I guess, to the actual, like, to the structure of the video. It's a really good bedding in process of, oh shit, I want to see what happens here. Like that little thing, I loved that. I loved it. So obviously, you mentioned who you study to improve your own videos. But obviously that's on a kind of more technical level of, seeing what thumbnails work, lighting, watching how other YouTubers cut their content and which order, and even structure the content of their videos themselves, like what they're saying and how they say it. How do you manage the emotional aspect? Because one of the things that I know I found is that keeping motivated and staying strong as you post, because obviously, especially at this level where you're slowly gathering momentum, it can be very easy to switch off and to feel overwhelmed, because maybe you're thinking, I wanted to do 100k subscribers in 3 months, or I'm making £1 million in sales in the first year of my business, or I want 10,000 people to have downloaded my podcast in 6 months. All these I guess metrics I guess are fine. However, it can create an opportunity to be, I guess, disappointed and discouraged and demotivated. So for yourself, how have you personally stayed motivated? And even if we forget the numbers, think about other situations where it's just like, is anybody gonna like this? Is this valuable? Is this good enough? Is this as good as my last thing? How do you combat that, I guess, doubting mindset yourself on a personal level? How do you do that? So that you can still keep going? Because that's something I've also found interesting from you.
So I will be honest, it's very much not easy, and I feel like at the start of any venture you do, there's always going to be that excitement. So when I made my first 10 videos, YouTube was like the best thing ever. And I don't mean this to sound like, I've kind of been doing this for so long and it's got tiring. No, I feel like with any exciting thing you start off with, there comes a time where the excitement does start to fade a little bit, and you do have to rely on discipline rather than motivation to get going. So I think a lot of the time it's being honest about my, what my purpose is for my work. So my purpose is to spread scientific information about fitness and nutrition, because there's so much crap online out there, and I don't feel like there's many black faces doing much to help that either. So that is definitely something that keeps me going. There's not a lot of us out here that's giving information that's actually accurate, because I do read studies a lot of the time, and I've done courses about how to kind of break studies down and all of that kind of stuff. So I really am invested in this, giving the truth as much as I can. So I think that is one thing that really pushes me to keep going. And another thing as well is, I would say that having kind of a plan of what I'm going to do, and just being like, you know what, Tumi, you got to get this done. It doesn't matter if you get something wrong, or if the camera's a bit blurry or something, you have to do it, because it's not just about spreading the message. Of course, that is my main, aim for this, but it's also to develop as a person, because it's not just getting a camera out and talking to the camera. It's so much deeper than that. There's a new 100%. Person that you're becoming, because putting yourself out there online, it's not easy, because you're going to get judged. You're going to feel like an imposter all the time. I feel like an imposter before I record most of my videos, honestly, but it's just because I'm going to become someone that's so much more confident, outspoken, and actually has a voice, rather than just being someone who knows some of this stuff and just doesn't want to share it because she's too scared about offending people, or people disagreeing with her or anything like that. So I think what keeps me motivated is, I know that someday someone's going to watch my videos and be like, wow, I've gotten so much value from this. And I have taken breaks. I think taking breaks is very important, because you do get burnout. And I did experience burnout at the start of December. So I took 3 weeks off making videos after coming from making 2 videos a week to making no videos for 3 weeks, because the burnout was really it wasn't even because I felt like no one was watching my videos. It was because I felt like it was just a lot of energy that I was putting into it, and I felt like my boyfriend would even say, I don't even talk to you anymore. It was that bad. So it would be like, we don't even talk. So I had to just take a break and reevaluate.
That break is really important as well.
Taking breaks is really important. So now I've kind of scaled back to, okay, let's start off slowly again. We'll build up the cadence when I'm ready, but 1 video a week is kind of what I'm trying to keep up for the rest of this year.
Yeah, that break is
it's really important.
Important. I know I took one myself as well because I had some personal situations going on in life.
Yeah.
Living with a landlord that I didn't particularly like, in a housing situation that wasn't great, and also some other things, including what's in the Dami Edun track. So hey, you lot, I think
listen
it's
to the song.
One of the songs on my YouTube channel. Go cop that. You can't cop it, but go listen to it. On the YouTube channel, Dami Edun.
Yeah.
It's got me doing like a gun finger salute in the thumbnail, so you should see it with my G Alicia. So all those kind of things were happening in my life, and I just and then work was quite difficult at that time as well. There was a lot of pressure, so all the combination of things made me take a hiatus. But you know what's really something that I wanted to tell you again on the record. I know we spoke about it off the record, but in that time that I was off, something that was really inspiring me to get back into the game, and even now, like why we're doing this podcast now, is because me watching you, Tumi, you inspired me.
Oh,
like you inspired me to get back on it and really go for it, because I watched your stuff and I just thought, wow, Tumi's so consistent. She delivers high quality and she just keeps it going regardless, and that's something that I really rate about you. And I think, it's like, I really want you to know that's real. Like, you doing your thing has pushed me to get back on my thing.
Yeah.
And I hope that in some years to come, when we talk about the journeys that we've had because we've made content, we can come back to this and I can say, Tumi, thank you so much, because you doing that, you shining your light helped me, and now we've been able to do whatever it is or not, and we just have a lot of things that we can show to our children or grandchildren or whatever else. So I'm thankful, and I wanted to come on to another question which I think a lot of people will be interested in because of what I mentioned previously, and I want to ask you if you believe that an optimum diet does exist for the human being, and your reasons why or why not. I just want to find out what you think, because you've tried so many different things. What do you think? What's your opinion?
So I think there is, this is going to be the most boring answer in the world, but I don't think there is an optimum diet for everybody. Yeah, I know.
Come on, man. Surely there's like some stones that you can eat from like some faraway land, or some herb from somewhere which has to be 1 gram has to be added in every meal, otherwise your body's just not lasting. Surely, nah?
Do you know what though? I will be honest. In 2018, and you know this, I would have said, if you interviewed me at 20, I would have said, keto is the best diet ever. Don't even bother doing anything else, because carbs will lead to insulin increase, which will make you fat. But I don't believe that anymore, because I've done my research now, and that's one thing I really admire about myself. I know you're blowing my own trumpet, but in the face of new information,
you do your research.
In the face of new information, I will change my mind. I used to be religious before. I'm not religious anymore, because I realised the information out there was not substantial enough for me to be religious. Even if it makes me look like a flip-flopper, I do not care. If I'm wrong about something and evidence has been presented to me that it's not right anymore, I will change my mind. And there's nothing wrong with that.
We're only right based on the experiences that we've had, and if something else outside of that steers us in a different direction, you've gotten very open mind, which is why I think you've been able to try so many things to find what's good for you in the now. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Yeah, so optimum diet, it really, you just have to try it for yourself, because if you don't try it, how can you take someone else's word for it? You can listen to any Tom, Dick and Harry about what the perfect diet is. Someone will tell you to be vegan, vegetarian, paleo, pescatarian, don't eat this, don't eat that. But you haven't lived in their body, because there's even a gene that certain people have. I can't remember the name of the gene, but certain people can struggle to actually digest saturated fats properly. So if you tell them, eat more milk and cheese, it's not going to work well with them. People have different stomach issues and stuff, so I really, really believe in experimentation. But if I was to go off my own self, I would personally say a mixture of like flexible dieting probably works best for me. So this is how I actually started my fitness journey in 2018. Although I don't really track macros anymore now, which is a long story about why right now in my life it's just not the best time for me to track macros. But I would honestly say that is probably the best approach. Do you know much about flexible dieting?
No, I actually have no idea. Tell us about it quickly.
Okay, so like, flexible dieting is kind of similar to if it fits your macros. So basically, everyone has a certain kind of macronutrient ratio that they should be hitting for certain goals. So if you want to bulk, if you want to maintain your weight, if you want to lose weight, there's certain numbers you have to hit. And you can have anything you want really within those numbers. Although don't take the piss and eat like ice cream all the time just because it fits in your macros. You can fit it in. Okay, so once you've got your protein covered and your healthy food covered, then you can have ice cream, but don't base off your diet from ice cream.
Okay,
that's a lot of the mistake
we have to have a Ben and Jerry's cookie dough every evening without fail, and then work our diet around that. Someone who wanted to fit ice cream.
Yeah, you could do it that way, but trust me, I've done it and it's a slippery slope. So get your healthy foods out of the way, and then at the end of the day, once you've done that, have your ice cream. I honestly think that is the best way to have a long-term sustainable diet, in my opinion. Flexible dieting is probably a good kind of baseline to start from, and then you can delve into things like intuitive eating and all of that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Okay. That's quite a comprehensive answer. What diet are you on then?
So right now, I'm not on any particular diet, but what I am trying to do is increase my protein.
And I don't mean a diet like diet to lose weight. Just the type of foods that you're eating regularly. Okay. What is that? Like,
so I've set myself a few goals for this year, and that is to get my 5 a day every day. I haven't actually managed to do that today because there's just not that much food at home. So but most of the days of 2021 I have got my 5 a day every day. And another thing as well is protein. Oh my goodness, protein is ridiculously amazing. Like, it's not even just to make sure that you're keeping your muscle and maintaining your muscle, but if you find you're snacking on like, you know, sweets and chocolate and all of this, if you add more protein into your diet, game changer. Your appetite will like go down severely. That's why when I was keto, even though keto is not high protein, it's high fat, but when I was keto, there's 2 reasons why I was able to be so skinny. 1, I was so tired all the time because it was so high in fat, and 2, it was higher in protein as well than like average diet, so I was able to keep full for quite a long time. So I could have 1 meal a day, 2 meals a day, absolutely fine. No appetite, but I couldn't obviously stick with that because it's quite unsustainable. No carbs, no, do it.
Fair.
So, I think what matters the most is it sustainable and is it healthy? Those are the 2 things. So flexible dieting covers those 2, in my opinion. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's something that I've learned about the keto and not having carbs and that making you tired, but protein being something that that makes
underrated.
Makes you have less of that urge to want to snack.
Yes, exactly.
Because that's something that I have struggled with a lot in the past, just snacking and wanting to get little things just to fill me up for like the night, whether that's custard creams and I'm
one tip as well, guys. If you start off your day with protein, so if you have eggs, or if you have protein pancakes, or if you have what other thing has protein, like salmon, for example, less hungry throughout the day. Try it. Okay. Every time I've had protein in the morning, my appetite has just not been as high. If I start with carbs, not saying carbs are bad, but trust me, this way around really has worked for me, and I really do like advocate for starting the day with protein. Game changer.
Okay. Yeah, because obviously at the moment, I was telling you earlier that I've started trialing a vegan diet.
Even though I was saying this 4 years ago. Didn't listen to me then.
Sometimes you need the push. Sometimes you need the push. Sometimes I'm not even gonna. You know, I've been inspired by my girlfriend's choice to take up a vegan diet to try it myself, and actually. I've been pretty impressed with just some of the options that there are for meatless meat.
When I was vegan, I was vegan for 6 months 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Not nowhere near as much choice and not nearly as good as the price. When I was buying vegan sausages, it used to be like £3 to £5 for a pack.
Wow.
Something ridiculous like that.
That is a lot.
But now you can go to Aldi, you can go to Lidl, you can go anywhere, and there's so much vegan stuff. Yeah. So they've really stepped their game up.
Yeah, I guess they have, because a lot more consumers have wanted to have that option to add to their diet, because they're thinking, okay, I want to be more health conscious.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's definitely, I guess, a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
If you are open to trying those things, because it means, okay, instead of thinking, oh God, where do I start? Yeah. The option's actually there, so you can at least try it and see if it is right for you. But obviously on an individual level, it's different and it varies across the board.
Mm-hmm.
So coming into something else, which I think will be interesting because of the type of content you make and the scene that you're in, with the kind of content you make in terms of health, fitness, nutrition, and I guess there's quite a lot of influencers and public figures and names in the scene, and there's a lot of different trends that I've noticed within that industry.
Right.
And one of the trends, which I think has come off probably the back of the whole Kim Kardashian, Beyonce, even at the real crux of it, and the stardom and fandom and all these things that they have, is the booty.
Right.
And the amount of booty guides, booty workouts, booty practices, etc., etc., etc. And I see these, and even the thing you mentioned earlier, the thing where you like lift up, the glute bridges or whatever they are. Like even that as being so you guys were doing like years ago, and then it's suddenly become a mainstream exercise to do.
Yeah.
So one of the things I wanted to ask you based on that is, because you know, you see a lot of things on the internet and you see a lot of things on social media, especially the bums.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, in my head, I'm like, how many of these are actually real though? How many of these are real? Like, are you telling me that you can start off with, and obviously because I'm a guy, it's not something that I'm going to be doing myself, but I'm just curious, like, okay, can you actually work for this thing?
Oh, definitely, yes.
Okay, but my question is it something is it something that everybody can work for, or is it just a kind of a chance thing? Like, oh, you have the right genetics for this. If you do these workouts, then you'll get it. Or is it a case of, no, anybody can do this? Because obviously if you build muscle, you know, most people would say that anybody, any man or woman is able to build, you know, biceps, triceps, lats, you know, pectorials, abs. Like everyone, if their diet and workout routine is right, these are things that they can build. But with this whole booty thing, I know there's a lot of controversy around it. I want to know what your opinion is. Can it be built?
Can it be built? Yes, I think it can. And recently...
By anyone?
By anyone.
Okay.
So there's this like expert in the butt world called Contreras, and he's basically been studying glutes for the past 20 years. And his story is quite interesting because he's a guy, obviously, and you know, a lot of people might be like, oh, well, he's a guy, so what does he know? But he actually had flat glutes himself, and he was quite self-conscious about that. So he literally studied everything he could about glutes. But he is very honest in the fact that he does say genetics do play a part. So you need to have like the ability to be able to build muscle in that region in order for you to like grow your glutes. And personally, I think I'm not going to lie, I did used to think it was kind of like a superficial goal to have. But now but there's nothing wrong with training for aesthetics.
Bang. The plate of flipping eggs there, and like, look what I had for breakfast.
Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with training for aesthetics. Like, I am definitely going to train for aesthetics at some point in my training career. Right now, I'm focusing on strength, but can't really do that from home. But when gyms do start opening, that will be my goal, to hit certain numbers on squat, deadlift, bench. But in terms of growing your booty, it's definitely possible. But Instagram can be quite deceptive because there's angles, there's lighting, there's all of these things. So in real life, maybe it doesn't look that big, but I guess it will look bigger in comparison to their like before photos. But honestly, building your glutes is actually very, functional and beneficial for you. Not even just in terms of like how it looks, but also if you're a guy and you're watching this, if you want to get your deadlift up, work on your glutes, do a couple hip thrusts, glute bridges, really make sure you get your glutes engaged as well, because it actually can strengthen your deadlift. Because I am not this expert on fitness and stuff, but I have done my fair bit of research, and I do plan to kind of like progress a bit more of that. But if you go to the gym and you find that your back is rounding while you're doing deadlifts, that is probably because you have a glute weakness. So if you do hip thrusts and things like that are going to grow your glutes, not only will it make you look aesthetically more attractive, but it will actually make you get stronger, because there's a lot of muscle. Your glutes are the biggest muscle in your body, the glute maximus anyway. So while it can be an aesthetic kind of like, oh, you're just training your glutes, there's actually more functional reasons for actually training your glutes, because they're really important in certain lifts that you do. So it's not just a aesthetic thing.
Yeah, so thanks for that bit of knowledge, because I wasn't sure. I've always been curious, like, is this real? Is it possible?
Yeah.
But I'm quite glad to hear it is, because I think if it is possible to create, then that gives everybody, men and women, a good chance to build the booty of their dreams. And not have to look at more dangerous or risky options such as surgery just to get that look or feeling. And I feel like for most things, if you've worked for it, and this is me saying this as a lazy guy who can sometimes not want to work for it, by the way, work for anything per se, usually there's just a lot of you get a nicer kickback when you've worked hard for something. I think, I believe, definitely, personally. So if that can be achieved with the booty thing, then
it's not just an aesthetic goal.
There's a journey in there for you if you want to take part in
it. There's principle in building a bar. It's not easy. So
so Tumi, one of the things that I wanted to ask you as well before we wrap up, because we're coming towards the end, is with the fitness space and the content that people are making. Well, actually, I wanted to ask you two things. So the first one is, what do you think is coming in terms of like new types of content for that particular sector? Obviously, because we've been at home for so long, gyms being closed, it must be so hard for a lot of people. And you've innovated quite a bit in terms of the content that you're making. Like, there's so many different types that you have in your portfolio already. Do you think there's anything that would come out of like this year that would be kind of new, or a newer way of doing content in the fitness and health space?
I think, definitely. There's obviously been a lot of people that are not able to go to the gym, especially in the UK. So there's been an obvious increase in at-home like workouts and stuff. People trying to make their workouts more efficient from home. And it is quite hard, especially if you have certain goals. So if you're trying to build muscle, it's harder to do it from home. It's still definitely achievable, but if you're trying to build muscle and gain strength, it can be quite hard to do from home. But with certain kind of like aspects of things with your equipment, it's definitely possible. So say, for example, you're trying to build more muscle, what you could do is just increase the volume of what you're doing. So in my videos, I do try and, I've done one at-home workout video. There's probably more to come. But usually I'll focus on increasing the volume so people get the most out of it as well. And also making sure that you really like push yourself and really have that mind-muscle connection. Because sometimes when you're at the gym, because maybe someone else wants to use a piece of equipment after you, or you feel like you've got this time constraint because you need to be somewhere, you might not really push it in your sets because you're preoccupied with something. I know I've definitely had that before where I go to the gym during my lunch break and I think, oh shit, I need to be, at my work in a few hours or in an hour, so I need to wrap this up as quickly as possible. But if you're at home, you really have the opportunity, because you're not really infringing on any time or any, constraint. You can really push yourself. So I think people will kind of start finding more innovative ways to challenge themselves from home in terms of working out. And I think in terms of the fitness space, I follow a lot of fitness people, and there's definitely been a shift in terms from aesthetics to training for general well-being and for strength. So I feel like people are becoming disenfranchised with, the perception of, you need to have abs and you need to have glutes and you need to have this and you need to have that. And people are more so focusing on the more sustainable aspects of fitness. And there's less things like, bikini competition. I mean, obviously with the pandemic, but even if the pandemic wasn't there, I don't think there's much focus on, bikini competitors as much as there's focus on, okay, I can deadlift 150 kilos, for example. So I think people are more kind of, especially with women anyway, they're more kind of going towards that route. And I also feel that people aren't really focusing on tracking calories and macros as much anymore, and they're more so branching into the intuitive eating kind of approach. But personally, I feel intuitive eating is very, very difficult to do because food tastes so damn good. And also, you need to have the fundamentals, like I was talking about earlier on. And I feel like maybe beginners, especially to fitness, they might think that they know intuitively what to eat and what not to eat. But if you haven't had that knowledge from tracking macros, for like someone like me, for example, I've tracked macros. And even now, even after having tracked macros, I still underestimate my calories. So even if, do you see what I mean? Even when you have the experience, you still, even dietitians, those are experts on nutrition. Studies have been done on them to see if they know how many calories they're eating at lunchtime or dinner time. And even they underestimate how many calories, let alone someone who has no experience with it. So as much as I love the intuitive eating movement, I do feel like maybe it's kind of like, maybe beginners won't really be able to understand how to actually effectively do it. So, the education is obviously still good, but I do still feel like the calorie tracking and the macro tracking still should happen, even if it's just for a month or 2 months or something, just to get the fundamentals down before then you can build on with intuitive eating. So love the journey that's making, but not sure it's feasible for everybody.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very comprehensive answer, man. That's an A student, honestly. Yes, you heard it here first. My sister did do better than me at school.
Oh, you did better than me in degree though.
Math. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alright, it's a draw. Okay, it's a draw. Say less.
I get A star AA.
That's what you did.
No, I got 2 A's and a B. I got a B in maths.
Oh, maths. Oh,
yes,
I swear down.
Maths.
I mean, you're pretty good at most things, but leave maths to me and Anyway. Couple more questions that I had for you.
Yeah.
So the first one is, obviously one of the things that we noticed in your space in terms of content that's got big is, wow, that girl's name has left my head. What's her name again? Wait, no, I'm gonna get it. Is it Chloe? No, it's not Chloe. No, Chloe Ting.
Yes.
Is it her? Yes. Chloe Ting, is that her name?
Yeah.
Chloe Ting, okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, her Ting blew up.
Oh, God.
Her Ting blew up. I just want to know what you think about her channel, because obviously she gives from what I've seen, it's these intensive workout videos where it's 10-15 minutes or something of some intense workout. I've never tried it, but everyone who has said it is bucking hard. So less on that. Well, I guess I want to hear your opinion on that, but also the way she does content, because I want to understand, because her numbers are crazy. You've got videos that are doing 50, 60, 70 million, 100, 200 million, like crazy views. I just want to understand if you, because obviously being a student of that area, if there was something she was specifically doing in her content, or if it was just, random luck that also gave her this massive platform that she now has, where girls all over the world are doing her workouts. I just want to know your thoughts.
So I think what Chloe did is very smart. And by the way, I have tried the workouts, and anyone who tells you that they're not hard, they haven't done them. So that's one thing I want to get out of the way first. Another thing I'd like to say as well is that she really knows her audience and really understands them. She knows that they're beginners, so a lot of the stuff is body weight. She knows that it's the pandemic, so people are at home and, you know, they don't really have maybe much time as well because maybe they've got school or things like that they need to be getting on with. So maybe they only have like 15, 20 minutes at a time to do that. So I think she has really like understood what they needed as well. And I feel like the way she communicates, she's very, you know, friendly, very open. She's just like a nice, like normal girl. And I feel like she was just there at the right time. And another thing as well is all her programs are free. So if you go on her website, she'll tell you, okay, on day 1, we're doing this, and that. Day 2, we'll do this. Day 2, day 3, etc., etc. So I think another aspect of that is that all her content and all her workouts are free. A lot of influencers do have their own like coaching programs and kind of stuff like that. So I think that's what also set her apart. And another thing that she did as well was she kind of made it a challenge. And people are very competitive, right? So my mum actually did the Chloe Ting challenge, and she was like, yeah, I finished it. I was like, if my mum could do it, let me see if I've been going gym consistently for a while. So let me see if I can conquer this Chloe Ting challenge. In a family
competition,
yeah. Because my mum was, you know, saying like, yeah, she did it. So I thought, okay, let me give it a go. Yeah. How hard can it really be? And then I got to day 1 and I was like, oh, she is not playing. So I think the fact that she, you know, had it on TikTok, she had it on Instagram, and people were hashtagging it. I think the kind of idea and the name challenge and kind of stuff instills in people to, you know, challenge themselves and also have competition with other people. So I think that was good. And the fact that she knew like where they would be and she kind of made it well. We're all in this together. It's a pandemic. Let's try and push ourselves to work out and stuff like that. I really think all those aspects together really made her channel blow up.
Yeah, I think the challenge aspect is always something that, even with away from fitness, like something that I've noticed, and I guess a lot of people in the music industry have noticed, is when a rapper usually releases a song or a project or a track which is quite popular, they'll release a challenge where they let the instrumental out and let other I guess less well-known rappers try their luck at spitting on it, and it creates a buzz where people listen to the track and they listen to themselves. They listen to all these rappers spit on it, and then it gives them a positive reinforcement for the track later. So eventually the track is well known because loads of people have become really familiar with it through the challenge. So I think it's quite a good thing, and I actually didn't know that, so that's quite interesting actually. So yeah, we're coming towards the end of the podcast, and one of the things I wanted to ask you before we kind of wrap up is how you, or what kind of challenges you faced with doing with making content, and how you've overcome them. So what kind of challenges have happened on the journey where it's like, fuck, this was hard to get through? Okay. What things happened?
So I think I have so many challenges. So one of my challenges is I find it really hard to like let myself get out there. I know, which is ironic because I'm on YouTube, but when I promote my content on Instagram, I feel like I'm being annoying, or I feel like nobody cares, or, you know, my target audience isn't even following me anyway, so why would I promote my stuff on Instagram? So when it comes to promoting my content, that kind of imposter syndrome or not thinking that anyone cares really does hold me back, but sometimes I just have to do it anyway. And I think another thing as well is probably imposter syndrome. So with some of the content that I've done, I kind of feel like, am I really qualified to speak about this thing? Are people going to take me seriously if I talk about this thing? And I just feel like I don't really know enough. But I think that's been a good thing actually, because it's actually shown me a lot of the blind spots that I have. And I don't know if you know about the Dunning-Kruger model.
What's that?
So it's kind of like a graph of your confidence against how much you actually know. So when you're a beginner to something, you know absolutely nothing. And then as soon as you acquire a little bit of information, your confidence goes ridiculously high in proportion to how much you actually know. And then as soon as you get to know a bit more, then your confidence kind of drops, and then it drops, and then it drops as soon as you kind of edge towards that becoming an expert thing. And then your confidence kind of goes back up, but not to the highest point like I just mentioned before, because you still know that there's a lot of stuff you don't know about your stuff. So I feel like when I first started making my videos, I was on that high point of the Dunning-Kruger. And then I realised as more information became available to me, and as I read more, I realised, okay, I didn't know this, I didn't know that, I didn't know that. So I feel like after every single video, I learned something new. And I feel if I never did my YouTube channel, and I never put myself out there, I would have just been complacent with the amount of knowledge I knew, and I wouldn't have actually pushed myself to know more, because I would watch other content creators and be almost kind of envious at how much they knew. And at the time, I would kind of just dwell in that envy and be like, oh, they know so much. Like, what do I have to offer to them? Well, I thought, no, I'm going to learn what they know. If they can learn it, so can I.
Yes.
I have a science degree. Like,
Come on, man.
I can learn
Let
things.
them know. Let them know science degree.
I'm not, like, dumb. I can learn this stuff. It's
chemistry. Let them know, man.
I know how to research and find information. I'm not trying to, like, brag or anything. But I know
I'm doing
how
it for
to kind
you.
of like
I'm doing it for you.
Put things together. So I feel like I really held myself back in terms of, you know, trying to feel like, okay, I really know everything, I don't need to learn anymore. But no. So I feel like YouTube really has pushed me to learn a lot more than I would have learned if I didn't make it. So I think that is what pushes me, the fact that I'm developing and my knowledge is getting better every single video. Yeah.
Sick, man. I love that. I love that you swung it back into the learning, because, yeah, man, that's the development aspect of everything, which is not even to do with numbers or to do with what you get out of it tangibly per se. It's more to do with, me being on a journey just has made me aware, like, wow, there's so much wealth of knowledge and there's so much things happening in the world that I just don't know, and there's so much to learn and take on board, and so many routes to take. It's quite fascinating that. So the last question I do have for you, Tumi, as we are coming, I know I've said it a few times now, we're coming to the end and we just keep going, but we are actually coming to the end now. We are. So I wanted to ask you, for somebody who's listening, let's imagine that there's a girl who's 18, who's just about to leave Robert Clack and go to university, maybe not Robert Clack, but I don't know, somewhere at some other school, or even a guy who's quite young and looking to start making content, and let's say content in the fitness space, but maybe in general, but looking at mostly in the fitness space. What kind of advice would you give to someone who is saying to themselves, rah, I wish I could start? What tips would you give them from your own personal experience?
So everyone that kind of gets asked this question always says the same thing, and they just tell you to just do it. And I do agree with that to an extent, but I don't feel like it's easy to just say to someone, just do it, because everyone has their own hang-ups and reasons why they don't want to do something. So I would say just start off slow. So if you don't want to do YouTube, maybe do something a bit more like personal to yourself. So if you have Snapchat, for example, maybe just put a little bit of something out there. If you have maybe a Twitter account where no one really follows you like that, just make a little tweet about something you're interested in and see, just kind of test the waters like that. So I didn't immediately jump straight into YouTube. Like I was doing stuff on Instagram first. So first it started with that picture. Then it started with me uploading on my stories consistently. Then it started with me doing videos of myself talking, which I would never ever have done that in like a year ago. I would have been absolutely scared crapless to do that. But I think it's just those little steps towards the bigger goal that you're trying to aim for is the most important thing. Because if you just say, just do it to someone, it's going to feel too scary. So I think just take little steps towards the bigger goal that you want to do. And just know that even if you're scared or you feel like there's self-doubt there, that if it's something that's in you, you have to just do it eventually at the end of the day. Because you don't want to be like, oh, okay, what if I did this? What if I did that? And once you've done something, you would have proven to yourself that you can actually do it, and it will keep you going. So I think have that self-doubt there. Everyone has the self-doubt. No matter how big you get, you're always going to have it. And just work regardless of that, and just keep telling yourself that I'm putting the work, I'm putting in the work, I'm putting in the work. And eventually it'll feel less daunting to you, and it'll kind of come into something that's just part of your life. Yeah.
Nice. I felt that. Well, Tumi, my little sis, I'm so proud of you, man. Give me a hug. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
For doing this, because I feel like you've developed so much as a person from it. And again, like, mentioning that you've inspired so many of us around you. I'm really glad you started doing it, because I feel like you're in your element with it, and I hope that you just have the fortitude to keep going, because I feel there's a lot of things that for you to reap out of it going forwards. We come to the end of the podcast now, and I want you to tell the people watching how they can follow your journey in the health, fitness, nutrition landscape, or whatever else you decide to do. Tell them where to follow you at, what your socials are. It's your time for self-promotion, sis.
So my Instagram is Tumi Edun, TUMI EDUN. Pretty much the same Instagram as him, but obviously Tumi instead of Dami. But yeah, and then on YouTube as well, Tumi Edun, same spelling, TUMI EDUN, and those are the main platforms. I do have a Twitter, but that's more of my personal outlet. So yeah, Instagram and YouTube are my main places.
Sweet. All right, so to everyone listening, this is another podcast from the Garden of Edun. Thanks for your viewership. Thanks for listening to these. I hope you enjoyed this one. This was an Edun special, by the way. Edun special. Yeah. You might get one at some time in the future, but this is the one for now, innit? So anyway, thank you for listening. I hope you have a good day. And I'll see you on the next podcast. Tumi, thanks for jumping on. Yep. Bless up. We're just chilling in the same house anyway, because it's the pandemic. Literally. So yeah. All right, everyone. Take care. See you all later.